Hi, welcome to Acappella Road, formerly known as the Western Hospitality Singers. My name is Greg Verhappen, and I'm the VP of Marketing for our chorus. You can contact me at gverhappy@shaw.ca. Since I won't be discussing all of the items on every slide, feel free to press pause at any time in order to read the slides a little bit more thoroughly. When I think of our chorus, we're probably a typical chorus that's active in our community. We love our routine, which is interspersed with creative marketing ideas, but unfortunately, many of those ideas were either not thoroughly planned out or were not sustainable. And often, we hadn't planned for succession or how we might share the work among all of our members. But in 2019, when the Barbershop Harmony Society was rethinking much of what it was doing, our board was also starting to consider that perhaps we were getting a little bit long in the tooth, and perhaps we needed a shakeup of our brand identity. There were still some lingering speed bumps, of course, such as fear of change, or should we go from the bottom up or top down kind of approach. Most important, however, was that sense of urgency versus the sense of procrastination, because what we're doing today kind of needs to take precedence. However, in the spring of 2019, as our year was drawing to a close, we agreed that maybe it would be worthwhile to see what our members thought. So we created a series of small group discussions for our members. We divided our 50 members into 5 groups of 10 and had 1-hour sessions with them where we asked them these 3 questions. The first question was really a values question. We just didn't want to ask it in a direct way because we didn't want to get any trite answers. The second one, of course, was how could we do things better, which is dealing with change. And the third one was, what are the values and what are the things that we truly believe that we need to hang on to? We introduced this to the members using this 2-page bulletin. Doug Gardner, our chapter president, recorded the conversations and then transcribed everything into a spreadsheet. Then 3 of us looked through all the comments people had made and found the following trends in the conversations. We showed it to them as a graph and summarized everything on a very short 2-page document. To me, this was an important difference because for the first time in recent memory since I was part of the chorus, our yearly priorities and action items were actually written down and we made them public to all of our members. In the end, it proved an important touchstone for us to refer back to in the next year and a half as we went through the rebranding process. Fall came, and with startup, we got caught up with all of the urgent and important stuff that needs to be dealt with there. And we really didn't start to focus too much on the stuff that was important and not urgent. Until the thought occurred to me that perhaps the marketing students at Mount Royal University might be interested in taking us on as a client. I approached one of the professors, and sure enough, after our interview, he was keen to get us involved. He initially asked us to present to his Year 3 students, whose assignment was to develop a more effective communication and marketing framework for our chorus. But when there was an unexpected opening with the 4th-year students, he asked us to present to them as well. Their task was to totally reinvent a company with a brand new brand identity. A few weeks after we gave the presentation, we came back and the students presented us with their findings. 4 to 6 board members attended and we received printed copies of all the projects. And boy, I tell you, there were a ton of great ideas. I would highly recommend getting involved with some of the university marketing students for your chorus. Even if you don't do anything with it, you'll get a lot of great ideas of what might be possible. After listening to the presentation, the committee and the board agreed that yes, we certainly needed to reinvent our public image. And we needed to be much more intentional and focused with our social media presence. So we looked at hiring an agency. We reached out to interested Mount Royal students as well, since they'd done such a good job with their presentation. The biggest hurdle we came across is that we weren't really clear on what we wanted and what we expected. Interviewing the agencies exposed us to a lot of opportunities, so we had to take some time to synthesize that into something that would work for us. Ultimately, we hired 2 Mount Royal students with a supporting consultant. While that was going on, we thought it might be a good idea to come up with a name on our own. Unfortunately, it didn't really work. We weren't really clear on what a good name would look like, or what questions we might ask, or how to collect effective data to help us make the decision. Regardless, that information was useful when we started to actually work with our Mount Royal students who we eventually hired. This slide shows you the complete list of the kinds of things we were looking for in our rebranding initiative. The first task we gave the Mount Royal students was to find a new name for our course. They looked at all the materials we had in order to get a good feel for what our brand identity like and who we were. And then they reduced a list of 184 names down to 21. They sent it out for some market research and came up with 5 names recommended to the committee. We identified 2, and after additional research, we unanimously chose Acappella Road as our future name. We found out in the process that asking the right question makes a big difference. For example, if you ask somebody to pick their favorite, you won't get great results. But when we ask the question, if you're going to join this course, which name would you find more appealing, or which name makes you curious to want to learn more about the group, the answers became quite different. After all, the purpose of the name is to attract people to your organization so that they can go to your website to find out more about you. We also decided that giving it a few days of familiarity with a name would change the degree to which you might like a name. After all, some names are pretty glitzy, but the cute factor wears off after a couple of days. On the other hand, other names, they just continue to grow on you and become much more familiar. That was the case with Acappella Road. After we decided on the names, the students worked for the next month or so on creating a vision, mission, values, and a lot of written material for our course to work with. Something that would be fresh, modern, and attractive to new members, as well as reflecting our brand identity. This went pretty smoothly, and we were very happy with the product that was resulted. Unfortunately, since we couldn't come to a great agreement about what the color schemes and logos and some of those visuals might be, we thought it might be best to close off that phase 1 of our rebranding and to have a look at a marketing firm that had a much stronger graphic design experience. And sure enough, within 5 or 6 weeks, this marketing firm came up with something that everyone on our committee thought was a great representation of who we were. We summarized all the information we'd collected in the past 4 or 5 months and took it to our board for approval. Then, on December 14th, before our last gathering at Christmas, we presented the findings to our members. Then, at our first rehearsal back after Christmas, we had a Q&A to allow members to ask any questions. Currently, we're finishing off our new website and starting to plan for our social media presence. The 2 platforms that best match our target market are Facebook and Instagram, so that will be our first focus. So, what were some of the takeaways from this process? First, we need to remember what Senge said and take regular time throughout the year to reflect on the important and not urgent matters for our course. Then, we need to document this. That way, we have a record that we can all refer back to in order to celebrate our successes or tweak our goals. Second, we have to remember the Tom Peters approach of ready, fire, aim. There are all kinds of reasons to keep us from moving forward, but until we move forward, we don't grow. So once you have the general direction, start going. Third, planning is important. You need to know what you want and you need to know the process. We wasted a lot of time figuring out the process as we went along. And when you choose your committee, remember to keep it small, diverse, and representative of your course members. But also choose people whose excitement to shoot for what might be is greater than their fear of letting their feet leave the ground. And so, where are we now? In January, one of our members agreed to redesign our website for completion of this fall. At that point, we hope to have migrated our www.singforfun.ca URL to our new URL, acappellaroad.ca. We've also decided it was important to become more intentional and develop a social media calendar in order to make our social media presence on Facebook and Instagram more effective. A big change in our member recruitment strategy is that we shifted from a fall-only approach to attracting members to something that's more year-round and intentional. This includes exploring new strategies, such as using social media more effectively, and trying to be more intentional in the way that we communicate with our choral community. If you have any questions, you can always reach me at jeeverhappy@shaw.ca or visit our website, acappellaroad.ca. Thank you.